HR transformation doesn't have to be complicated, expensive, or take forever. At Jigsaw Cloud, we prove that every day. Cleanova, now at 400 plus employees, needed a powerful HR system, fast and cost effective.
What we've got is a tier 1 solution at what I would say is tier 2 cost. And I think that's absolutely outstanding. And I think the value that we get from working with Jigsaw has been well worth it. The project was delivered collaboratively, it was delivered promptly, and it was delivered with some of the best quality that I could have expected.
It is just really streamlined. It looks and feels better.
This is the story how it has transformed Cleanova's HR team to support its people. Let's dive in.
So my name's John Meek, I'm the People Director here at Cleanova. Got responsibility for the full HR function, ranging through from talent management all the way to payroll operations. Cleanova is a manufacturer of filtration products. We're based globally with a manufacturing footprint here in the UK, in Ireland, in the United States and in India as well. So I was the project lead on the Cleanova side of the business. I initiated the implementation of SuccessFactors, making sure that our data was accurate to get the system going.
I'm Kelly Edmund and I'm the people partner for the UK, covering the end-to-end employee cycle process. I'm working obviously really closely with John, particularly as I'm the super user for the back end. So it was making sure that everything was running very timely, running smoothly, working cross-functionally with everybody that we needed to, and quite frankly that it all made sense.
I'm Anne Lawrence. I'm the Junior People Partner for Cleanova. I support the UK business with a range of HR activities. So throughout the project, I was heavily involved with the user acceptance testing. Part of that was ensuring that the permissions that were set were correct across the team.
Biggest challenge we had was we had a hole of data. So when we split from our previous organisation, we had a gap between not having an HR system, and this left us with a challenge in terms of how we were going to manage our data throughout the organisation. The other challenge as we were going through this was really taking managers on an educational journey in terms of what we were looking to do with the future system, and then suddenly we had no system and processes, so we had to really support our managers in terms of that learning journey.
The main part was simplifying the system to make it really user-friendly, not only for our employees, people partners, for managers, for anybody who used the system. The biggest challenge was predominantly around having a lot of paper involved, not actually having a system with an audit trail.
I was working with a manual process for logging any type of changes, for example, payroll. These changes had to be logged through Excel or Word. One of our main goals was really to simplify processes across the business and really keep a straightforward approach to onboarding and offboarding.
The main piece was manager experience. In terms of our people planning processes, we rely on a lot of our manager ability to deliver performance management, compensation planning, and that was a real opportunity for us to improve the system and make it more straightforward for you to be able to deliver your responsibilities as a leader across our business. The other piece is we get really great data quality. So from a business information perspective, SuccessFactors generates brilliant data that we can use to inform future business decisions as well as drive those people processes. I think going into the implementation, I expected that we might be looking at a different solution. I thought we might be looking at what you would class as a sort of tier 2, tier 3 solution in the HR market. And what we've got is a tier 1 solution at what I would say is tier 2 cost. And I think that's absolutely outstanding. I think the value that we get from working with Jigsaw has been well worth it in that sense. The first one was the relationship that I actually built up with the sales contact. So I immediately felt really comfortable in terms of the opportunity to do something collaboratively that we were going to be able to be rolled out in terms of the tight timeline that we talked about. One thing I really appreciated was that challenge that we had sometimes from Jigsaw in terms of you need to do this or you need to not do something else. And I got that really early on. I got that sense of expertise. I think the best way I can explain that is that it was professional but personal. They wanted to learn about our business, but that they really understood the product and they understood how to roll out this product into a business such as ours. Personable, and I would say that word because I felt like we built up great relationships as we went through the implementation. But to me, personable is also about the ability to listen. We listened, but most importantly, Jigsaw listened to us as well in terms of where we wanted to make some tweaks or where we needed to hit specific deadlines.
Entertaining in the sense of we did get to know each other, I think, on sort of a more personable basis, and that was the level of relationship that we did have with Jigsaw. Even though there were many hours spent, it was still really enjoyable, but it was extremely collaborative, and again, us learning from them.
Synergy. I think we all worked together quite well. We had open discussions throughout the project, and everyone was helping to achieve a great success.
The understanding of what that timeline was, why we were so committed to 8 weeks, I think that initial setup was really important. The second piece was the overall organisation through that 8-week time period. There were regular touch points that weren't just tactical and operational. They also raised the bar in terms of that discussion around how are we getting through the project, where are those challenges, what do we anticipate. So I thought the project management as we went through that 8-week period was outstanding. And then finally, the hard work and commitment on both sides to get to a really good outcome in a really short period of time.
The really big key piece was always having that level of support. They were always around with any questions that arose. A lot of one-on-one time, talking with the team, just sharing screens and going through the data line by line. Patience has probably been a very, very crucial part of this, is patience and understanding, and a lot of listening from both sides, which is how and why we were able to stick to such a short timeline of 8 weeks.
It was extremely educational. We've learned practices in terms of implementation of SuccessFactors, but also day-to-day use through this project itself that we're still continuing to use and build on. The other piece was it was exceptionally collaborative. I'd really like to sort of highlight that at no point did we feel that we couldn't pick up the phone or open ourselves up for challenge, but also challenge back as we were going through this project. And the project was delivered collaboratively, it was delivered promptly, and it was delivered with some of the best quality that I could have expected.
The amount of data that we did have and that we obtained, trying to understand what was actually needed, what wasn't, and then understanding how it flows into the system so that it best fits us as a business, particularly on the back end, trying to pinpoint what was the crucial bit of data that we needed in order for it to flow through in our system, what it was going to impact with our employees. There was a lot of duplication and some of it wasn't the right duplication. So yeah, it was certainly a really big challenge.
I can't remember challenges as such. The only bit that I think will be better is if we see the raw data and being able, as an implementation consultant, to review this with the customer and suggest more improvements in terms of what they wanted to import into the system.
Jigsaw really helped us navigate all our own data that we had.
There was no task that was too hard or too difficult for them to be able to work through with us to accomplish what we needed to do.
Business information itself that is generated through the SuccessFactors system that we operate is well worth the investment. Additionally, the system drives so many of our people processes. It allows us to be lean, it allows us to be efficient, and I think the investment has been well worth it. In terms of where we are as an organisation, acquisition is something that's been a big part of what we've done since we established Cleanova. We've acquired 2 businesses in a 15-16 month time frame. And one of the real benefits of SuccessFactors is the global nature of how it operates. So again, working closely with the team, we've been able to seamlessly integrate our organisations, and then the onus becomes more on us as a business to integrate those organisations culturally, because what we've got is that underlying benchmark of data quality and how the system operates through SuccessFactors itself, and it works really nicely.
It's a lot more simpler and an efficient process, and supports with timekeeping instead of just using loads of different systems and kind of getting lost in track of where I keep everything.
So having a system in place is really crucial, really key. It flows in through really nicely, and what it impacts on the other parts of the process, things like payroll. It is just really streamlined. It looks and feels better. It's having a full hold of our data. So part of that is making SuccessFactors almost like a one-stop shop for managers, employees and people partners alike. So being able to use that as the main management tool for everybody to feel confident in using, knowing exactly what they're looking for, what they want to get out of it.
So I definitely say with the HR team, it's been like a very seamless transition. I think comparing my level of involvement with SuccessFactors from previously to now, it's really highlighted how seamless the whole change has been, considering the amount of change there's been in the organisation.
Manager experience as we've gone through this project has been outstanding. We've made a real continuity of experience for our people leaders across the business in terms of working through end of year performance, compensation planning. I think that's been a real success for us. I think also one of the pieces that's really come in terms of the implementation and experience for the business is around the ability to use people data to effectively plan for the future. As we look to lay out our strategy for the next 12 months, but also the next 3 years, SuccessFactors plays a really important role in understanding where our people are, the skills that we need to be part of the future, as well as our geographical footprint too. When we set the system up to drive our core people processes. So driving through performance, compensation, goals and objectives, which is where we are today in terms of the system that we currently operate. Certainly in the future, we're looking at recruitment, we're looking at onboarding and offboarding, everything that flows across that, what I would class as that employee experience space. It may grow into talent and succession in the future. I think that's a great module that we can look at. But for now, it's about establishing our core operating system across the group, and I said bringing those acquired businesses into how we work as well.
Empowering our managers to feel that they can use the system to the best of its ability. And what we want to continue to do is keep evolving it, always look at lessons learned and what is it that we can do better, what can we continue to improve on. A really big key part is the fact that we can hold on to budgets. It's great with allocation.
With this HR transformation, I really see that it will continue to keep benefiting Cleanova by keeping our processes very simplified and to the point.
Listen to the experts. Jigsaw Cloud has people that really know their stuff when it comes to SuccessFactors, and their individual subject matter expertise is broken up really nicely. From any business internally is take the opportunity to take stock and look at your own data, look at where you are as a business and what you really need. And if you can simplify the information that you have, simplify. Don't underestimate the value of a system that gives you world-class business information, would be my underlying piece for any business that's considering what they do with their HR system. What data do you have? What do you use that data for? And how can you make sure it's brilliant in terms of what you're looking to do?
For less than the price of a coffee per week, Cleanova unlocked enterprise-grade HR. With Jigsaw Cloud and SuccessFactors, transformation isn't a luxury, it's your next smart move.